Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you today? Well, as you can see, last night, again, another night of overnight rain. It was chucking it down last night. However, this morning, oh, look at that. We've got reasonably clear blue skies, just a wisp of cloud. And it's another day for washing. So Jane has got the washing on the go at the moment. But look at that, looking over towards Kerry and Lagana direction. Looking really nice. Again, the ground is getting so much water in it. That's obviously going to bode well for the summer when it arrives. But yeah, it's looking right nice today. I've got to be honest. A few faces turning up. Amanda Gregory, nice to see you this morning. Here, Marley's doing well at the moment. Really pleased. And as I move across to the other side of the other part of the house again. I can hear you saying, where's the chickens and where's the cats today? Well, we've already fed all the boys and the girls. And at the moment, oh my God, it's lovely and warm in the sun at the moment. So yeah, it's really, really looking lovely. So, and there's a bit of a wind blowing, I've got to be honest. But other than that, it's looking really, really nice. And anyway, let's go up onto the veranda, quickly go through the news of the day. The news today is quite interesting. I've also got a stop press story literally from first thing this morning, which is kind of interesting. So I think I might be ahead of the game here as well, for the local area anyway, at least. Anyway, so let me just click the screens around. Once again, thanks to all those people who are turning up. Good morning, Amanda, she says. Good morning, Ginge, I say back. And Jack Harmer is also tuning in as well. Nice to see you here. Right, let's have a look at what's been going on now in the last 24 hours. The date today is the 10th of January. Can't believe the month is going quite quickly at the moment. It's a Sunday as well, and it is day 65, okay, of our lockdown, which again has been extended now up until the 18th. Right. COVID in the last 24 hours. Interesting figures in the last 24 hours. I'm afraid our infection rate is up slightly from yesterday. Yesterday we had 721. Today we have got 800 new infections across the country, bringing the grand total to 144,293, of which 52% are male. And 11 new infections were identified at entries into the country. Now, that was also up, I'm afraid. The day before, it was 8. Yesterday, it was 11. So just a slight increase there. No new cases reported on Zakynthos in the way of national figures or anywhere else in the island at the moment. So that's a good case. At the moment, we've had 4 positive cases of coronavirus on Zakynthos in 2021 here on Zakynthos. So at the moment, no real change there. As for deaths are actually down today, which is good. The other day I reported we had 49 deaths. Our latest death tally is 32 deaths, okay, in the last 24 hours across Greece. That brings a total up to 5,227, the average age of 79. 95% of those people had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And it was 3,087 male and 2,140 females have passed away since the coronavirus has actually started. So once again, our condolences to families. Also, on the good side as well is critical cases are down as well. The other day I reported we had 386 people in ICUs across the country. Now it's down to 362. 250 of those are male, 112 of those are female. Average age of critical patients is 68 years of age, and 85.4% of them have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. So some areas it's going down. But again, with testing, the more you test, the more you'll find, as always. But at the moment, at least with the critical cases and death rate, it is going down. So that is positive news. Right, so other positive news. This was literally hot off the presses this morning while I was going through the local press. The Greek National Vaccination Centre Committee has confirmed... Oh, sorry, this is some other news for you. Hang on. The Greek National Vaccination Committee has confirmed that the programme for COVID-19 vaccination appointments will launch on Monday, January the 11th. For the first stage of public vaccinations that will include citizens over 85 years of age. Now, the first vaccination thing was for vulnerable people, and it's between the age of 60 to 85, but the government has decided first to start at the top of the age group at the 85 levels. Now, the first appointments are expected to start from January the 20th. Once again, just to remind you, we're expecting our first batches of the COVID vaccine to arrive tomorrow, and the vaccination of what do you call it? The vaccination of the health people, workers, professionals here on the island, that is expected to start on Tuesday. All right. So again, but from January the 20th, across Greece, this is not specifically here at the moment. The first appointments are expected to start at January the 20th. I have a feeling that we won't get our appointments as quickly because we're probably not seen as a high-risk area, and I'll come on to that into a tick. Anyway, those registered on the Government Intangible Prescription Register, that's a mouthful for you, which includes around 60,000 citizens above the age of 85, they're going to receive an SMN message on their mobile phone and details of the locations. I think of my mum with a mobile phone. That's going to be interesting. This is where the families will have to be helping mum and helping dad, a yaya, to check their phone, or even be a contact for them for getting that message to where they have to go and have an appointment to have the vaccine. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. Right, now the other bit of information I had that was top of the list this morning, that just suddenly appeared this morning, was the Ionian Islands of Greece are ranked at the top of the safest areas in Europe by the latest report for the European Centre for Diseases Prevention and Control. Whee! So we're top of the tree there. The Ionian Islands region, along with very few other regions in Europe, is in the top 5 of those, with such low indices, population rates, that they remain below the 4% threshold for coronavirus testing. Anyway, the findings concluded that the absolute successful campaign of the Ionian Islands region, Ionia for all seasons, is sending messages that the Ionian Islands are ready for the first movement with active initiatives to safely welcome Greeks and foreign visitors. So if there's going to be anywhere you can go in the summer for a holiday, it's going to be the Ionian Islands. So it's going to be Corfu, Kefalonia, Ithaca, and us. All right, so make sure you start booking your holidays, because they are at a good price at the moment if you know where to look. All right, they are also saying it provides the opportunity for anyone seeking experience to dream and make a visit to the Ionian Islands as a travel destination for all seasons, but also for all seasons and those with difficult health conditions on the planet due to the pandemic, because the Ionian Islands knows how to protect their visitors. Well, that is quite true, actually. And also, despite what was expected when the first wave hit of, oh, the tourists are going to bring the virus with them, it wasn't really the case, to be honest. It was more people spreading it between themselves and foreign visitors bringing coronavirus into the island. So anyway, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the terms of for our season, which will be coming up later in the year. Obviously, May time is, well, normally March is when we normally would start our first direct flights with the UK. Normally, EasyJet would start in March, and the season would officially then start on the 1st of May. So that's going to be interesting. We'll keep an eye on this. Right. Another story that caught my eye yesterday was the first cemetery of Zakynthos. Now, the first cemetery of Zakynthos is the main metropolitan cemetery in town. That was visited by a delegation from the city council. Now, that cemetery was hit very hard during the medicane that we had last year. And that's, believe it or not, over 3.5 months ago. Anyway, the president of the association, Kostas Pettis, uploaded many pictures and texts on his personal social media page about the spectacle that they witnessed yesterday in the cemetery, which they said, to say the least, was tragic. Now, writing on his page, he said a delegation of the city council conducted an autopsy, or that means an inspection in English, in the area of the first cemetery of Zakynthos that had been affected by the bad weather of Lanos. That was the medicane for 145 days. That's since the hurricane hit. Anyway, it's worth mentioning that the Minister of Civil Protection, Mr. Hariadis, had visited the area that at that time accompanied by all the institutional and official agents of the land, because every man and his dog basically was down there checking to see what the damage was to that location. Anyway, the image was the main reason that Zakynthos got the state of emergency status and the help that it got with favourable financial arrangements arriving from the pictures of the damage that was seen. And also individual services of the municipality were given funds basically for repairs, etc. Anyway, all this and more, or less known, is what is known as the evidence by the photographic material. So anyway, basically he put lots of pictures up online yesterday, and in his words, to show the shameful pictures of our human condition as the infrastructure has suffered irreparable damage, and actions to restore them are pending. So basically, after 145 days, all the money that has been thrown at the island, very little has been done to actually fix the damage to the cemetery. Anyway, once again, they note that funerals are by appointments because the cemetery is technically closed, under the responsibility of the employees and the daily routine in the cemetery. They said that the plumbing, the toilets are non-existent. They said there was clogged transformers, broken walls, collapsed cultural heritage sites, private tombs were open into the air, and many of them closed with just plywood on top. And the passage, the walkways through the cemetery remain dangerous, inaccessible in many places. Anyway, if you want to look at those pictures, I would suggest that you go to the emirazanti.gr. You can see those pictures there. And to be honest, they do not paint a very good picture. I think the worst thing about it is the fact that it's not like money's been given for the repair. It's just that the money hasn't been spent, and a botch job has been going on at the moment, despite the fact that money has been given. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that and we'll see what happens. Now, another little thought for interest is, yeah, well, as you are probably all aware, that we are in a lockdown where you must book in and book out via the police. That you have 6 different items of things that you are technically allowed to do, like visit the doctor, go to the supermarket, that's going shopping. You're allowed to exercise for as well. But I noticed that there was another big splash in the papers. A local news story, an environmentalist group here called Social Responsibility and Awakening, and the Green Activist Group and the voluntary team of Zakynthos, play on words there, they've been doing a beach clean yesterday in Lagana. They cleared 500 metres of area where they collected many bags of rubbish, and also they cut their New Year's cake as well. I'm not trying to be a killjoy on this, but again, I'm not sure how they were able to do that with the restrictions that are in place at the moment, whether they all went out under setting number 6, which is to exercise, and part of their exercise was to go to the beach and clear up the rubbish. But anyway, they were out there clearing the rubbish away from the beach. Trust me, there was a lot of rubbish and a lot of damage done to Lagana Beach during the summer season, especially when we had the stupidity of the 12 o'clock lockdown and 12 o'clock curfew, when you had people being cleared out of pubs and bars and clubs with nowhere to go except where? Down to the beach. And what happened was a lot of mess, a lot of rubbish went down there, and the beach was in an absolute shambles for a lot of the time. And that was just more pressure on the municipality for cleaning of the beach, more expense as well. So the volunteers have been out clearing the beach again from what hadn't been picked up, or what's been dumped, shall we say, since this lockdown has started. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. But again, it does raise questions as about how people are able to go out and do that without having any interference from the authorities. Maybe they got clearance, I don't know. But again, good on them for doing it anyway. But anyway, we'll keep our eyes on that. Now, as you're probably aware, I do have a lot of people who tune in from Cyprus at the moment. Got to say a big hello to Mr. Carhill. Also got to say Wiggy Win Stanley, Derek and Bridget Cole. They're just 3 of the people from Cyprus who like to have a look in. Well, Cyprus now is returning to lockdown for the remainder of the month. Yeah, could this be happening here as well? Including daytime restrictions on movement, the shuttering of schools, after the government conceded on Friday that the nightly curfew and other existing measures weren't enough to curtail the spread of the coronavirus in Cyprus. Anyway, Cypriot Health Minister Konstantinou Ioannou said the intensive care units treating COVID-19 patients have reached their limits and tougher restrictions are needed to prevent people dying helplessly because we don't have available beds. The new measures take effect today. Anyway, individuals will only be permitted to go out twice each day with approval required. So I've got a feeling they might be running the similar sort of SMX thing as we run here. Anyway, schools, with the exceptions of kindergartens and preschool, for those serving students with special needs, will be closed and teaching moved online, the same as we have here. Cyprus will have a 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew extended to the end of the month with a ban on public and private gatherings. Oh, that's interesting as well. Anyway, all hair, beauty salons, theatres, cinemas, shopping malls, gyms, nightclubs, restaurants and playgrounds will also be closed. Also, what you've got to remember as well, Cyprus has like a 365-day year tourist season, unlike Greece, where we only have a 6-monthly one. So I'm not sure if they are still having a tourist season of any sorts over there at the moment in Cyprus. Anyway, however, the new lockdown isn't as strict as the one the government imposed on April and May, they say. Although civil servants will be obliged to work from home, a maximum of 20 employees are being allowed to work at a premises of private companies. Families will also be allowed a 3-hour excursion to the beach for exercise. The health minister said infections have multiplied with much faster in Cyprus during the last couple of months compared to earlier in the year, particularly because of the new corona variant first identified in Britain. Well, as I've always said, whoever sees something change first, it gets given the name from that country. And Britain as well was honest to say, well, we've seen a change in the virus. However, it wouldn't surprise me. They'll probably accuse the Turkish side of a variant of it as well at some point from the Greek side and vice versa on the other side. But we'll wait and see. Anyway, the minister also said COVID-19 testing will be ramped up, although he acknowledged that country's immunisation programme is proceeding at a slow pace. Because of the low number of vaccine doses the country is receiving, which is 6,800 per week, the Cyprus population has about 900,000 people. Well, to be honest, it's a lot smaller population than Greece. We have approximately about 10 million people. And again, I'm taking that this 900,000, they're only talking about the Greek Cypriot side, not the Turkish Cypriot side. I don't know anything about what's going on there in regards of the virus at all. So again, still a divided European nation, Cyprus, and also as well what's going on the Turkish side, especially with all the sort of sabre rattling that's been going on these last few months as well. It would be interesting to see. Anyway, they also say as well some 4,500 nursing home residents, the frontline medical staff have already been vaccinated. The minister said if vaccine shipments remain unchanged, 60,000 to 70,000 will be vaccinated by the end of May. He said that the country could reduce the percentage of hospitalisations by 80% if 150,000 people were inoculated by mid-April. Cyprus has reported more than 26,000 confirmed cases and 140 deaths in the pandemic. And the current 14-day cumulative diagnosis rate for COVID-19 is 614.3% per 100,000 people in the population. So that is actually quite high for a place of that size. So anyway, that's what's happening in Cyprus at the moment. The cousins of Greece seems that they're getting more stricter with their lockdown. And again, big holiday destination there, that's probably at risk as well for the summer. But the Ionian looking a good place to come in the summer at the moment, according to the European Union. Anyway, and finally, a bit of a happy story, all right, for you. The mystery with an ancient Greek marble slab is taking place in London. No one knows how the artifact with an ancient Greek inscription, which was found in the yard of a house in White Parish, which is a little village in the south of England. Anyway, the artifact that is to be auctioned in February was once used as a stable support block for horses for almost 10 years. Anyway, according to information, the marble slab dates from the 2nd century AD. The engraved inscription reads, the Demos and young people, Demetrius of Menturus of Lefkos. Anyway, according to reports, the slab was found 20 years ago by the owner in White Parish. The woman used it in her horse stable for almost a decade until one day she found a laurel wreath carved on its surface. It was then that she took it to an archaeologist. Anyway, Will and Hobbs, an antique specialist, and Wallace said the artifacts such as the rock were often arrived in English in the 18th and 19th century when wealthy aristocrats would do the big tour, going to visit places of art and classical culture and history, of which Athens was on the destination, and they assume that this is how it entered the UK. But what is a complete mystery is how it ended up in a domestic garden. And that's where we'd like the public to help, they added. So if you know any story. Anyway, it's going up for auction. And they're wanting £15,000 for this. That's the start price. That's the pre-sale estimate. So 15 grand for a slab. So get out in your garage, have a look around. You never know, you might find one somewhere in your garage. All right, that might have been brought over by your great granddad back in the 1800s after he'd done the Grand Tour. So anyway, there you go. Those are the news and stories here. What's happening in Greece. Let's have a quick look at see who's tuning in at the moment. Amanda Gregory's watching. Nice to see her. Give you a wave back. Susie Angus is also watching. Nice to see her. Give you a wave back. Barry Leatherdale is watching as well. Nice to see you. Give you a wave back. Lyndon from Wales is tuning in. Nice to see you here, Lyndon. Love the pictures of you running the London Marathon. Very cool, mate. Amanda Gregory says, good morning, with a lovely avatar. Jack Armour is watching as well. Margaret Miller is watching. Tim Miles is watching as well. Ex-Raffridge buddy. Nice to see you here. Christine Brown is also watching. Graham Bint is also watching from Australia. Lovely to have you here, fella. Ian Durbridge is also watching. Another Raffridge buddy. Mark Stewart is tuning in as well. Bob Monroe's tuning in. Rosewood, normal resident from the island here, is tuning in as well. Nice to see you checking up. Stefan Hammer from Austria says, Galimera. Stefan, good friend of ours. He lives down in Marianisi, down that part of by Kerry. The weather's looking lovely down there, by the way, Stefan. Looking forward to when you get yourself back here to Zakynthos. Alan Parks is also watching. Cheers, Al. How you doing? How's Catrick? Is it sun that's shining today, even though it's raining? Hilary Rogers is also watching. Lovely to see you here, Hilary. Dave Finch, my cousin's watching as well. Nice to have you as well. Adi Pratt is also watching. Tony Malloy is also looking as well. Tony is watching as well. Give him a wave back. Richard Stable is watching. Shelley Russell is watching. Kevin Carhill is watching. Patrick Paul John Moore is watching as well. Jeanette, Nick, I can never say your name. It's a lovely Irish name. But anyway, she's tuning in as well. Brian Slinger is also watching as well. And he says, morning, buddy. Patrick Curtin is watching as well. Patrick Curtin says, morning, Ginge. Bloody cold in Essex. People are ignoring the lockdown. Well, people are kind of playing the game here. As I've always said with us here, we're more worried about getting fined by the police than we are about what's going on with the virus, because to be honest, we are relatively safe here. And at the moment, we've only had 4 positive cases since the beginning of the year. We've probably had about 16 all told since the thing started. And I think we've had 1 death, as far as I can say, actually directly here on the island, and maybe another death, but from somebody from outside of the island, but it still went onto our tally. And he was a priest, by the way, as well. So at the moment, most people are doing as they're told, all right, or being very clever from the police. And I've just seen somebody from Cyprus saying hello at the moment. I'll get back to them in a tick. Patrick Martin Curtin says, I hope you're safe. And Derek and Bridget Cole are watching as well. Carol Davis is watching. Jamie McGinn Gunn is watching. Anthony Wells from Spain is watching as well. How's things in Spain at the moment? They've gone very, very quiet at the moment. Don't really hear much from them. Scott Williams is watching as well. Oh, yeah, Derek and Bridget Cole say, hello, Ginge from sunny Cyprus. Take care. Well, you take care as well. well. It sounds like you guys are getting a very strict lockdown measure as well. So I'll be interested to see how that's affecting you. And also, Derek and Bridget, whereabouts in Cyprus are you living? Are you living in around the Limassol area, or are you living somewhere like the Troodos Mountains or around by Paphos? I'd just be curious to know which part of the island you're actually living in, actually, as well. And Maureen Elves is also watching from around the corner. I hope everything's good with you and Mike. And Hilary Wadge has just sent me a message. Spain have had blizzards in Madrid. Really? I didn't know that. I'll have a look at that. Oh, so it's been a bit chilly there then. But anyway, today the weather is lovely. Just a quick one for you. Reference my show that I did that only lasted for an hour and a bit the other day because of the terrible something happened with my laptops at the moment, which was a bit worrying at the time. But I've managed to have a proper systems check and everything else, and everything seems to be back to normal. But that show number 3 has charted. Unfortunately, I haven't got the stats actually on me page here, but I was really chuffed that show charted so quickly after, and the fact it wasn't my full show either, but it has charted in the Mixcloud chart. Unfortunately, there's no video version of the show, unfortunately, because that was lost when the broadcast was done. It is on the Twitch website, but unfortunately Twitch censors copyright, so 1 minute you'll hear the sound and then it'll be muted for the next track, which is very frustrating. But at least with Mixcloud, we managed to get all the audio for that, and you can listen to that show. And it's weird. It's just like it just sort of slows down and stops, and I just disappear away with no sort of message to say hi, whatever, or goodbye or anything else like that. It was just the way that the system was running. So I may do a bit of a testing broadcast this afternoon for an hour or so, just to see that everything's running correctly again. So if I just appear this afternoon, it's just a test broadcast. So yeah, come and join me on that test broadcast. Need to test out the systems, all right, make sure they're running again properly for Wednesday, when I do my 2 shows, Wednesday and also a Friday. Right, Carol Davis says, good morning from a cold Wolverhampton. And Bridget and Derek and Bridget Cole are actually from Paphos, and they say per ardua. Thank you very much for that. Whereabouts in Paphos? Because my ex-in-laws used to live in Calorica, just outside of Paphos, up in the hills, up by the school. Lovely area. In fact, I spent about 9.5 years total in Cyprus. I was very lucky. I was one of those people who managed to get 3 tours in Cyprus in my time in the Royal Air Force, and I also went back on a detachment or 2 as well. So I saw how the island really changed from 1979 up to about 1996. Yeah, and anyway, maybe one. You know what? I don't know whether I want to go back and visit. I've always said this. We were very close one time to booking to go over to Cyprus, but in some ways they said, "Oh, they live in Timmy near the airport." Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, because at that time there's Paphos Airport and then there was Larnaca Airport. Cyprus, actually, people don't realise just how big a country Cyprus is, actually, and you could go up to the top end to the Turkish part. You know what? It's one place you just wish they kind of would all get on, get it sorted, get on. You're Cypriots, you're not Turkish Cypriot, you're not Greek Cypriot, you're a Cypriot, full stop. However, the tribal divides are still ongoing, so we'll see what happens. But it has got a lot better in the last few years. Anyway, according to documentaries and information that I read, and you can get backwards and forwards across the border relatively easily. But anyway, I'm diverging, I'm burbling now. I better go. Anyway, you have a great day. Whatever you're doing, have a good time. Don't work too hard now. Enjoy your Sunday, relax, leisure. Are we still? Oh yeah, that was a thing I forgot to mention. In your lockdown, Cyprus, First Division football teams are still allowed to play their football games, but I'm not sure if there's no crowd allowed in the ground. But anyway, just thought I'd pop that to you as well. Anyway, that's it from me for today. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see what the day brings. Ta-ra.